Hello again. As you know, I am Eli the Computer Guy, and today's class is Personal VPN Services for Security Overview. So Personal VPN Services is one of those technologies that's becoming more and more and more important as more people start doing their work on the road. So VPN services used to be all about securing the connection between remote computers and corporate offices, business offices. Now, VPN services are being used simply to protect data as it is sent through the internet. So the overall idea of VPN, or virtual private networking, is what happens is you take your data, you encrypt your data, you put your data into another encrypted tunnel, and you send that data through the internet to an endpoint. So basically your data is protected twice going through the internet. So it's put in a tunnel and then it's encrypted within that tunnel until it gets all the way out to the other side. Why this is important is because if people are trying to do network sniffing attacks or man-in-the-middle attacks, if they can get in the middle of the connection between your client computer and the server that you're trying to connect to, even if they can see the data, it's encrypted so they don't know what it is. The nice part with these VPN tunnels is they have self-protection mechanisms so that if they see that they're being attacked, they actually drop and that they will try to reconnect using a different route. So the purpose of VPN, virtual private networking, is to protect your data when it goes from point A to point B. So this used to be still is very important in the enterprise world. So you go home and you're sitting at your work provided laptop at home, and you try to connect to the work network. You would set up a VPN connection, and from there you would be able to connect to Outlook, you'd be able to connect to shared files and folders, so on and so forth. So that is what VPN has been, and we've been using for about 15 years. Now, VPN services are becoming more important as more people start using their laptops in non-protected environments. So if you go and you use your laptop computer and you use it at a Starbucks or a cafe, or you use it from a hotel room, the problem is that when you are using a public network, there may be hackers on that network that try to sniff and grab your data, steal your sessions, or cause all kinds of other problems. Now, for average users are becoming more and more concerned about the security of their internet connections. Again, like I say, when you're connecting at a hotel or when you're connecting at an internet cafe. So a lot of my work I use Google services, I use Facebook services, I use these public web services. If I don't protect my network connection when I'm using those services and I'm at an internet cafe, somebody could actually be on the wireless signal at that internet cafe and actually grab my usernames and passwords because they will be sent unencrypted over that network. So what personal VPN services do is they allow you to create a VPN tunnel to the service provider that you're using, and then you actually access the internet from their servers that are on a secure network. So instead of you being at the internet cafe and directly connecting to the internet, you create a tunnel from you to their servers, and their servers will then connect to the internet. So let's go over to the whiteboard for a second, just so I can kind of show you how this works and you have an idea of what's going on. So basically, normally what happens when you go to an internet cafe is you're sitting at the internet cafe, they have their router, and then there's the internet. So if you want to go to CNN.com, basically your computer wirelessly connects to their wireless access point, that goes to the internet, goes to CNN.com, and then all the data is sent back to you. Now, if somebody is sitting on the network sniffing the data going through the network, they are able to see and grab all that information. So if you're going to CNN.com, that's not really any big deal. If you're going to Gmail, though, if you go to Gmail through this service, they can sit there sniffing the network when you're pulling your emails, when you're sending keystrokes. All of that information can be seen by this other person that's sitting on the wireless network and captured. So I did a class on subterfuge, which allows you to see usernames and passwords of anybody on the local area network that is accessing those services. So that's the problem, because all of your data is sent, they can sit here and they can sniff, and that's just a really bad thing. So what the VPN service does is you are sitting there at the internet cafe and they have their router and you have the internet connection. Well, then you have the VPN service server over here. What happens is you create a tunnel through the internet to the VPN server that they have, and all your data is encrypted. Then from their systems, you then access the internet. Since their servers are secure, their network is secure, therefore you don't have to worry about anybody trying to sniff it. So basically, if somebody is sitting there at the same internet cafe that you are, and they try to look at the data that you're sending and receiving, all they'll see is that this encrypted tunnel, and they won't be able to do anything with it. So your computer creates a tunnel all the way to the VPN servers, and then from there the VPN servers allow you to get out to the internet. So this is why these personal VPN services are so useful. So now again, back in the old days, if you wanted to set up a VPN service like this, you would have to go out and either spend a lot of money or take a lot of time and energy. So like VPN, routing and remote access, is built into Windows Server, has been since like NT 4.0. So you could buy a Windows Server and set this up. Very expensive, very time consuming. You could set up OpenVPN so that you could be connected to your own home server. Again, there's a lot of networking involved. You have to understand TCP/IP. You have to understand port forwarding. You have to understand a lot of crap. So it's you can do it. Very difficult. Well, these personal VPN services, what they are doing is they are making VPN service as easy to use as something like Gmail. So basically, you pay a company $5 a month, and then they give you access to their VPN servers, and it makes life a lot easier. So basically, you normally download an application now, you install it on your computer, on your tablet, on your iPhone, and then from there it will take over and will allow you to use their VPN services. Now, if you're going to be using these VPN services, there's a range of costs. So some of them are free. So a lot of these VPN services, they go by what is called a freemium model. So they give away some service, hoping that you will buy more. So you can use like either 500 megs per month or a gig per month in bandwidth. And then after that, you have to pay. So basically, like I say, normally less than a gig you get for free, and then above a gig, then you have to pay. So one thing that you have to understand with this is that you are dealing with bandwidth. So you do have to understand a little bit about how networking works. So one thing to be thinking about with this, like I say, let's go back to the whiteboard, is when we go, so you're here, you're at your computer at the internet cafe, and this is the internet cloud, and you have their VPN server. So when we're talking about bandwidth, what we're talking about is the amount of data that they're going to be sending to you. So you create a tunnel to them, they then go out to the internet. They then pull the information from the internet into their VPN servers and then send it back to you. So when we're talking about bandwidth, we're talking about the amount of data that goes from their VPN servers to your computer, your client. So again, with a gig, that means you can send a whole stupid amount of text. So if all you're sending is text files, then you can do that all day, all night, and you will never hit a gig. If you're sending pics, then you can probably send a lot of pics, but you're going to run into a problem at some point. If you're sending videos, you can probably send 1 to 3 of those before you run into an issue. So the main thing to remember, though, is you're pulling that data from the internet to their VPN servers and over to you. So that's important for two reasons. One, because when it comes to this bandwidth allocation, it's something you have to think about. But also you have to be thinking about the quality of their network connection and their servers. The reason is because normally when you think of bandwidth, you think about download speed, right? You say, I have a 35 megabit per second connection download, or a 10, or a 5. Well, again, in the internet networking world, you have to worry about upload speeds. So a lot of times people will have, let's say they'll have 10 down and 5 up. So they can download at 10 megabits per second and they can upload at 5 megabits per second. Why this becomes important here is because these VPN servers are both downloading when they get the data from the internet for you and then uploading to you. So when it comes out of the VPN server, it's an upload for them and then it's a download for you. So when you're using this VPN service, the VPN has to download into the server, upload to the internet, and then you download. So you're adding an entire extra step for your data to get from the website you're going to you. So one of the issues that I've seen is some of these VPN services just have very poor internet connections. So when they're trying to upload the data to you, it just gets slow and bogged down and it just doesn't make anybody happy. So this is something that you're going to be needing to think about when you decide to go out and buy a personal VPN service, either for yourself or for your client. Make sure to go with a reputable vendor. So a reputable vendor is going to have high bandwidth servers so that they can upload all this data to you. Because, like I say, it has to go from the internet down to their server, up back to the internet, down to you. So you're adding in the extra hop. So when we're talking about bandwidth, we have to be thinking about how much you're using, so this will go to cost, and then we have to be thinking about how good their systems are, because that can just create all kinds of nasty stuff. So when we're talking about the VPN, the virtual private networking, the service, you're going to hear about a couple of encryption protocols. So whenever you're talking about VPN uses two protocols in order to protect your data. It has a tunnel protocol. So the tunnel protocol basically creates that tunnel so that you can send encrypted data through the tunnel. So the encrypted data, how it's encrypted, is used generally one of three ways. Either something called Pptp, point-to-point tunneling protocol, IPSec, IP security, or SSL. So Pptp, or point-to-point tunneling protocol, is the protocol from back in the old days. So back in the day, when I was learning NT 4.0, we had to learn Pptp. Basically, even back then, even back in 2000, it was not considered a very secure VPN protocol. So when you're going out to buy one of these services or use one of these services, they will tell you what kind of encryption they use. Some of them, especially the free ones, use Pptp. And basically, most of the security experts, most of the hacking people say, don't use point-to-point tunneling protocol. It's just, it's not secure. It's one of those, if you don't have any other options, fine, use it. But in this day and age, you have more than enough options, so just stay away from it. So Pptp, stay away from. The next one you will hear about is called IPSec. IPSec, IP security, has been around, again, since way back when, since the 90s, and it is generally used in the enterprise environment. So some of these services you will use IP security, IPSec, but most of the time it is used, again, for the enterprise environment. So you have a company such as IBM, they have their remote workers, they will use IPSec as their encryption just because it works within their environment better. It's considered more secure, it's considered more stable, it's been around longer, people know what's going on with it. So that's like the stock standard for the enterprise world. What you will most likely run into when you go out and buy your VPN service is something called SSL encryption. So you have heard of SSL encryption for encrypting data. You normally use it for when you type in credit card information on a website. Well, SSL is now being used as the encryption protocol for VPN tunnels. Now the thing with SSL, and again, this is why you have to do a little research and why you listen to somebody like me, is because when you first start reading about SSL, what they're going to be talking about is that it is a clientless VPN solution. So what clientless means is, again, what I was talking about before with VPN normally is you install a client application on the computer or device. That client application then talks to the server. So you actually have to do an install process to make this thing work. There has to be a VPN client. Well, SSL, the concept is that it's clientless, that you can actually create a VPN tunnel without installing an application on your computer. Sounds really cool, except until you start reading about it a little more. Basically, with the SSL VPN tunnels, the encryption, it only works in a clientless state for web browsers, basically Chrome and Firefox. So you can actually create a tunnel for the data being sent back and forth in Chrome or Firefox, but it's only for the data being sent back and forth in Chrome and Firefox. If you have Outlook on your computer and you're sending data back and forth, it won't be encrypted. If you use an FTP connection, it won't be encrypted. If you're doing any other networking protocols, it won't be encrypted. It will only be encrypted if you actually, in the clientless state, if you are using one of the web browsers and it's set up in the web browser. So a lot of times, these companies will sell you, most of these personal VPN solutions, they will sell you SSL encryption, but you actually still have to install an SSL VPN app on the device or computer in order for it to tunnel all the networking traffic. So if you want your web traffic and your email traffic and your FTP traffic and all this other traffic tunneled, using as an SSL VPN, then you have to actually install the app. So those are the three different types of encryption that you will normally see when you go to buy the service. Again, you have point-to-point tunneling protocol. Don't worry about it. Don't use it. It's considered obsolete by just about everybody. You have IP security, IPSec. Again, very good solution. It is just simply generally used more in the enterprise environment. What you will most likely run across is SSL. Again, when you read about it, it will talk all about this stuff about clientless, but really if you want to use VPN for what it's really used for, you're still going to have to install a client. Yeah. So when you're thinking about this, one of the things, again, that you have to be thinking about is how much do you trust the company that you are dealing with? This is, again, a very important thing. So if we go back to our whiteboard for a second, right? I just want you guys to really understand. So, you know, you're at your computer, you've got the cloud here, and you're going through their VPN servers. What theoretically makes this secure is you're assuming that the VPN servers have a secure connection to the internet. So what you're assuming is you have an insecure connection to the internet, and they have a secure connection to the internet. So you create a tunnel to them, and then they go out to the internet and they give you the information back through the tunnel. Now it's very important that you find a provider that you trust and you find the provider that you think is secure, because you still have to get to the internet at some point, right? At some point you have to get out of the servers and actually go through the network and get to the internet. So if somebody is smart enough to try to do a man-in-the-middle attack with their connection between their VPN servers and how they connect to the internet, then they can actually grab all of the data in that unencrypted form as the VPN services connect to the internet and grab it. Not only that, but like some of the free VPN services that are out there. So you'll find free VPN services that talk all about now you can download BitTorrent files without worrying about it. Now you can go to porn sites without worrying about it, so on and so forth. Well, what is to tell you that they're not logging everything that goes through their VPN servers. So they're saying, hey, your data is completely protected all the way to our VPN servers. Are you sure? Do you trust that their VPN servers and their network connection is actually protected and is actually secure? This is just one of those things to think about, because again, I know my fan base. I sadly know my fan base well enough, and you guys want everything for free or incredibly inexpensive. And again, if you go out, you will find free VPN services out there that I would never, ever touch, because again, I am an internet professor now. I'm an internet guru. So I do things in life a certain way. As I've talked about before, if I was the head of the CIA or an intelligence agency, I would personally put $30 million into creating really good VPN servers for free and telling everybody in the world that they existed, and then basically mining all the data that went through it. Or if I was a crime lord, if I was one of these Russian mafia bosses, again, I would create really good VPN servers for free and then tell everybody in the world you could use them for buying stuff off of Amazon.com. Again, everything that goes through the VPN server, there's no technological miracle to have all of that data stored and scanned and queried and everything else. What you have to trust is that the company that you're using, the servers that you're using, that they are not doing that. If I wanted to set up my own VPN server and log every piece of traffic that went through it, believe me, I could set that up within a day. It is no big deal. So that's one of the big things that you have to worry about when you're selecting a VPN service is what VPN service do you trust? So let's go over to the computer for a second just to show you like some of the different options that are out there for you if you decide to go with a VPN service. So I just did a hands-on review for this company called okfreedom.com, and these guys have a pretty good solution, but they have, you know, good things and bad things, so you need to be thinking about that. So one of the nice parts with these guys is they have this free option. So 500 megs of bandwidth plus up to an additional 100 megs per recommendation. So you can very easily get 1 gig of bandwidth per month for free, or you can get unlimited traffic for $70 a year. So this is the good thing. So they have free stuff. Now the issue with them, if you scroll all the way through here, is that you can only use their service if you have a Windows computer. So you actually have to install their app onto your Windows computer. And you're paying this fee right here per computer. So it's $70 for your one laptop computer, and $70 for your other laptop computer, and $70 for your other laptop computer. So like with me, as I say, I have 5 computers. I literally, in fact, have 5 computers simply sitting on my desk. That's not all my computers. That's just what's on my desk. So if I want to get VPN service for all of those, they would cost $350 a year, and it would only work on Windows. So that is something that you have to think about. Then there's another app over here, this TunnelBear, again, one of my fans told me about, and with this you scroll down and it's got some more options for you. So you've got Android, so if you have an Android device you can use this on Android, you can use it on a PC or Mac, and you can use it on an iPhone and iPad. So if you're looking for a solution that you can use basically on any device, this will do it for you. So Android, PC, iPhone. What I like about this is if you go over to pricing, again, they have their free little thing, you know, Twitter promotion, whether you want the free. But what I like here is have an iPad, iPhone, or Android, purchase TunnelBear on your PC or Mac, and you will also receive unlimited tunneling on 2 additional mobile devices. So OK Freedom, when you pay, it's only for that one computer. This is what I think most people would want, is it's for your laptop computer, it's for your iPhone, and it's for your iPad. So if I was going to be buying one of these personal VPN solutions, I would probably go with TunnelBear. They're a new thing, you know, who do you trust? I guess I will trust them. But I like this, like I say, is the type of thing that you want to be looking for when you actually go to pay for the service. Beyond that, again, this is one of those services that, again, is kind of new. So lots and lots of service providers are trying to sell this service. You've got to go find the one that will work for you, and it will make your life better. Again, especially with us road warriors now, we're doing work in cafes, we're doing work at hotels, we're doing work in convention centers. Again, the important thing to realize is now our iPhones are sending real, you know, our phones, when you used to think about wireless connections, you were surfing the, you know, I used to surf CNN, you know, when I was bored, or get a map connection. Now with our iPhones, we're sending emails back and forth, we're sending files back and forth, we're sending pictures back and forth. If you send that on an open wireless connection, all of that information can be grabbed. You log into your Google account on an open wireless connection, somebody can grab that information and make your life a living hell. Even something like Twitter, like, you know what? You don't even think about Twitter, your Twitter account being that important for most people. But really, honestly, how horribly frustrating would it be if you lost the ability to access your Twitter account because somebody stole your information? That would just be horrible. So again, there's a lot of solutions out here. I would say, again, TunnelBear is probably what I'm going to be going with very shortly. $5 a month and you just have peace of mind. My Surface can have VPN, my iPad can have VPN, my iPhone can have VPN. I can go out and be a road warrior and I don't have to worry about my data being stolen by one of these hackers out on the network trying to grab the information. So this was the class, Personal VPN Services for Security Overview. Again, this is something that you should definitely be looking at for yourself and definitely be looking at for your clients. It's one of those new things that's out there, and especially in this BYOD world, bring your own device world, is just an absolute, almost absolute necessity now. So, as you know, I'm Eli the Computer Guy, and I enjoy teaching this class.